Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a todos los que están presentes y a los online al seminario de investigación del doctorado en Ingeniería y Ciencias con la Industria. Hoy día tenemos el placer de contar con Aline Mór. Aline es ingeniera en alimentos de la Universidad Estatal de Campiña, Brasil, máster en confitería de Alemania, MBA en la Universidad de Bradford. Es una líder científica que tiene una destacada experiencia en el enfoque holístico de la estrategia, el negocio, la innovación y la gestión de I+D en la industria alimentaria, tanto en roles técnicos como comerciales. Además, cuenta con un gran conocimiento de las categorías de confitería, snacks saludables a base de cereales. Ha liderado equipos multifuncionales y multiculturales, definiendo plataformas y estrategias de innovación para una marca y una estrategia gestionando proyectos de complejos carteras de I+D para trazar una ejecución impecable e impulsar las ambiciones de crecimiento en los mercados de innovación relevante y escalable. Antes de asumir su actual posición como Head of Nestlé R&D Latam, en 2022 lideró la categoría KitKat en el Centro de Tecnología de Productos de Nestlé, ubicado en New York, Reino Unido, como Global KitKat Healthy Snacks R&D Nestlé. Junto a su equipo, creó innovaciones claves como KitKat Seasonal, KitKat
No sé si habrán
Tablets.
empezado, pero al menos yo no escucho.
Ah, ok. Gracias. ¿Escuchas?
Sí, pero se escuchaba.
¿Aló? ¿Ahora? ¿Ahora nos escuchan? Sí, ahora nos deberían escuchar.
Sí, súper bien.
Ya. Sorry. I won't do the introductions again. Antes de asumir como su actual posición como Head of Nestlé R&D Latam, lideró categorías de KitKat en el Centro de Tecnología de Productos de Nestlé, ubicado en New York, Reino Unido, como Global KitKat Healthy Snack R&D Nestlé. Junto a su equipo creó innovaciones claves como KitKat Seasonal, KitKat Vegan. Anteriormente se desempeñó como Business Manager Food en Nestlé Brasil, responsable de un negocio multicategoría, incluyendo chocolates, lácteos y culinarios para el equipo fuera del hogar. Hoy día tenemos el placer de contar con ella y que nos va a hacer una presentación, y va a ser en inglés. I'll switch to English. Nestlé R&D Connecting to the Innovation Ecosystem in Latam. Thank you very much, Aline.
Thank you. Muy buenas tardes. Un gusto estar aquí hoy con ustedes, pero no me voy a continuar en español porque es día viernes a la tarde, así que los slides están en inglés y sería muy lento. Así, that's why I will switch to English. Just hope you understand. That will be easier for me so that we can have a conversation as I'm learning Spanish as I go. It's a pleasure to be here today with you. We can make that as interactive as you want. For the ones online, just interrupt. If you have a question, for the ones who are here, just stop me at any time. I promise if I don't have the answer, I will look for it later, but I will let you know. Yeah. So
It's popped up that on the.
pardon me.
Don't worry. It's here that I have to do. Click here. That should do it.
So a little bit of myself. I'm the mother of two girls, a proud mother, I have to say, of course. Laura is 10, Anna is just turned 13. I'm married to Joachim, he's German, so we are a mixed cultural family. I'm from Brazil originally. My girls were born in Brazil, but they do believe they are English. When I came here, we just moved. Well, I still say just Tuesday, but it was in January, so it's not that close anymore. It's almost a year now. But I came here on a mission, on an assignment, as we say in Nestlé. And I've been working on this project all last year to open and lead a new R&D center for Nestlé. Yeah, a huge project. I'm not from the construction engineering area, but I did have to manage a full refurbishment. We are located in the head office of Nestlé here in Chile, in Las Condes. And we decided to put the R&D center in the head office from a strategic point of view, because we wanted to be closer to the business. We wanted to be easy to connect, but that also gave us lots of challenges, because we want to have a hybrid place, and there is no R&D facility for food without a kitchen and without at least a small bench scale lab. So we had to do all of that in an area which is usually offices. Yeah. Before I came here, I had many years with Nestle. Please don't do the math, otherwise you get my age. But it's more than 20 years, less than 30. I give you that range as all. We'll not go through all of that, but this is just to give you a few. Or if I tell you that I was graduated and straight into Nestle, and I'm still with Nestle, you may ask how. And especially today, for the younger ones, cannot be all your life working for Nestle. But as you can see, I did so many different things. I like to say I'm on my 5th company today. And even within Nestle, I managed to have different positions, different businesses, have to take lots of risk as well. Not only when you move and change companies, you take risks. Within a company, you can do that as well. And here, with so many learnings I had through this journey, I learned that we own our career. So I think this is also very important for everyone that is getting into the job market later. You need to own it. You need to know what drives you, what you really like to do, and then look for that. So this is a little bit about myself. I started as a student in Nestlé in Switzerland. I went back to finish my degree as food engineering in Brazil. Then after 4 years, I went to England first. And then while I got there, I was always very curious. I had an engineering degree. I said, I need to learn about the business. So I went on to do an MBA in the evening in England. Nobody does that. In Brazil, so common, but not in England. They would think I was bad. But we did that. I was leading a group of scientists there for new technologies. And then I returned to Brazil. I didn't want to carry on R&D and technical, so I went to the business. Big change, because then you almost have to restart again and build your credibility on a completely different area. Many different functions, as I know, I am a manager, different businesses, most confectionery is my background. And then I did something very different, which is to lead the food business for out of home. So all the restaurants, the hotels that we have and supply. And then I thought I was going to stay in the business in Brazil, but then I was invited to go back to Europe and then lead KitKat and be the global lead for innovation for KitKat around the world, which sounds quite exciting. So you had to really have to consider that. And I took the opportunity, went there, thought I was going to stay then in England, maybe Switzerland next, and then came the opportunity to move to Chile. So many difficult decisions, but that also makes very exciting. I'm here today to tell you a little bit on how R&D is organized within Nestle, to give you a global view, and then tell you why we are here and what we are doing, with a specific focus on how we are connecting that to the ecosystem, which of course the university is a major player within that. Nestle is organized, and it's not easy to understand, so I try to give you a glimpse. We have a centralized research for platforms that are cross-category. And this is really where the scientists are. This is where we have so many PhDs and doctors there. They are in Lausanne, in Switzerland. This is our Nestle Research Center. This team develops science and knowledge that then can be spread to different categories. We then have in the middle category-focused development centers. So I mentioned to you I was in England, in York. This is our confectionery global center. From there, we do innovation from all the world, especially for global brands. But then Nestle realized that it needed to be closer to the markets, yeah? Because even though we developed something that may be very good there in Europe, when you want to translate that for different parts of the world, as you all know, there are many challenges. Ingredients is one of them. The ingredients that are available in one region are not transferable, but more than that, the consumers, yeah? The consumers are different, they're in a different stage, what they can afford is different. So therefore, we have this shift from this globally managed centralized research to regional innovations. And then I'm very happy to say to you that we are the latest regional center here, and we are in Santiago, we are in Chile, but we are a center for Latin America. You can see that we are more than 4,000 people in R&D across the world, and very multicultural, and 23 R&D locations today. To give you a flavor of what we are doing, everything we do in R&D has to be guided, needs to be good for you and good for the planet. Yeah, so this is our strategic direction. We always have to think if what we are doing fits there. If not, we should question this. And this is, of course, for people, for pets, and across all life stages. This is the guideline from the center. Yeah, of course, in the regional centers, we are much smaller. We don't take all of these platforms, like you see here. But if I can mention to you, for sure, we are very focused on affordability. Yeah, we know that this is a must for our region in America, in Latin America. We very much focus on sustainability, and here our focus is on the just to reduce plastic, yeah, and then circular economy. And then on the innovation side, we are pretty much focused here on the alternative proteins. Yeah, with much interest here. What are the different sources of protein, especially using local and regional raw materials? Yeah? So this is our guiding principle. But plant-based is much bigger outside of Latin America, as you know, and we have been investing a lot. And this is just to give you a flavor what Nestlé is doing around the world. And we have in the last 2 years invested a lot of research here to launch more than 100 products in different categories, always leveraging the scientific basis that I told you are developed in the central research areas. This is again very much focused on but always looking for nutritional, sustainable plant-based meat, fish, and egg. So we expanded, and by the way, we are just in the market today with a foie gras as well in Europe, very niche, but that's what they are looking where to go. And of course, this helps us saving hundreds of thousands of pounds. Of course, even the tuna. The tuna is now launched and rolled out. It's a project from an accelerator, which I will explain in a minute. And not only plant-based and meat replaces, but also dairy-based. We know that dairy is also a huge contribution for our green gas emissions, so we need to tackle that. So we are working two sides, both on the meat alternatives, but also on the dairy alternatives. This is again just a flavor for the things we have been doing in different categories. As you know, I was in KitKat, so KitKat vegan there is a little bit bigger, maybe, yeah, very close to my heart, because that's a project that we led from York. And we did a shop test worldwide, including Brazil here in Latin America, in 14 countries at once. And now it's being produced out of Hamburg. So a good example as well, when we want to accelerate something and we want to test in real market conditions, then after we can escape. But not to be too far from Chile, this is our latest launch that comes again from this technology platforms and science that we developed. In the center, this is a project that started with Germany. This is our food category center, and again had to be tropicalized, if you like, and adapted to what the Chilean market, the Chilean consumers like, what's available in the Chilean market, and these were the latest products just launched. And for example, base parapino is not something you can develop in Germany. Yeah, you need to take the technology building blocks and then adapt to the flavor from local consumers. So this is just to give you an idea how we transition from global research and how we will adapt to get closer to the market. This is one of the main roles of the regional center, by the way. This is not developed by the regional center because we just arrived, but this is the kind of things that we want to do more and more, translate the science and technology that's being developed in our R&D network or outside Nestlé, and then bring it closer to consumers. I just pause here. Any questions so far?
All right.
Good. So Nestlé been around so long time, and I was making the joke, we need budget, we need approval, we don't always have a return on investment that's so easy to defend. So we had to reinvent ourselves, yeah, to be faster and leaner in our innovation process. So for about 3 years now, yeah, 2019. So we had to change our approach to innovation, and we created what we call an accelerator powered by R&D. Yeah, and what does it mean? That means that we want to take all that science that's being created in our research centers, in our category centers as well. But before, we would have to take many, many years to prove it again, see if it's viable, feasible, have a P&L before we could get to market. Yeah, we still have projects that run like this because some of them need to go through the full process. But we wanted to have really an opportunity to translate this early science and check very fast with consumers in real market, in the real marketplace, if there is desirability for that. Because this is the first thing we want to know. Are we developing something? Are we putting resources on something consumers really want or have a problem that we are addressing? So for that, we want to be able to translate the science into a very rapid prototyping and then move fast to testing. We have then a way to fast track this project, not all projects for sure, but a few of them. And then we created these new accelerators around the world, which is a place where we can collaborate, we can interact with the external partners, with universities, with students, with startups, with suppliers, put a team together. And here we have a good team because we have to be a multifunctional team when we do this. And more importantly, we then decided that our R&D facilities, those 23 locations that I've showed you, could then produce prototypes that we could sell. So we had to upscale all our R&D centers to say, no, now you can produce something that can go to sale for a limited time, not to make profit or anything. And this is how we did our KitKat vegan. So we had a new line for KitKat in our R&D facility that we could then produce and from the R&D send to the market. So this gives us a lot more speed.
And then how you mix, because you can accelerate something, but it's like also drugs. A food product can kill you, a drug can kill you, and so you have to have a lot of safety during the processes. How you mix that acceleration with the safety at the same time?
Excellent question. So we can do everything but compromise on food safety. So this is the rule number one. So an accelerator team, they can take all decisions among themselves, not on bread and not on food safety. So this is the only things they cannot do that are not according to the Nestlé guidelines. So food safety, it will always be on our top priority because yes, you're right. This is not, like I say to the team, a prototype that you do on the Fab Lab and you test online to see if it's working or not, if consumers click or don't click. This is a product you put on the shelf and consumers will buy and will eat it. So food safety always is non-negotiable. So we need to go through all of that. You have a question?
Yes, related to Mr. Alejandro, regarding the safety and also quality, no? It was in the slide of fundamentals. So, in which way is so close to you or quality and safety? How please explain a little bit more about that?
So when we go for a full launch, we need to check. And these things can take longer. When we go for an accelerate, what we're trying to do is take an MVP. So it's not the final product, but it has to be food safety. So that's a must. So there is no way. So that's why these new lines, they are all accredited to be like a manufacturing line. And in these lines, we have all the controls for quality that we have in a factory. It's just in a much smaller scale. So we will never compromise on food safety first. And then on quality, of course, many different aspects of quality. But we use this as a test. So we want to have feedback from consumers. So, but instead of calling you guys here and I bring you my KitKat vegan and you tell me what you think about it, we put it on the shelf so you buy it, so you spend your money for it. And we want to know what you think. It's a very different response that you get if you're in a controlled environment or if you're out there having to compete with other products and then engage with you and then you tell me, how was your experience? And then you can tell me, is my money valued or not, and so on. So we will be at MVP level. So maybe there are quality of product improvements that still can be made, but we use it as an opportunity to get this feedback, learn, which is the main objective for an accelerator, and then come then with a product that's much better, but without compromising on food safety. That's no way we will do it.
And so you have a test supermarket where actually consumers can go in and
I'll show you. Not a test supermarket. We go to a real retailer.
Okay.
I think I have one slide on that. So this is our accelerator approach. If you go in the website, this is public. You can see how it works. Should we play the video then? Yeah. So it's a 1-minute video. It's in this website that you can see here. And this is how we go from we want to go from an idea to a shop test in 6 months, where we then want to take all the learnings and then move much faster to a launch. just a little bit of a flavor. This is the first accelerator. So it's a flagship of an accelerator for us at Nestlé. It's there in the same area where we have Nestlé Research, because it started like this. We have all this great research, science, and technology developed who can test fast if we have a consumer value proposition, and then we can go for market. Always when we have a challenge, they post here, and the idea is to recruit diverse teams from Nestlé, without outside of Nestlé, and then we were assigned on a 6 months project base. So we started to do that, and here is a little bit linked to your point. What we want to do, it's a very strong collaboration with the ecosystem. We know we cannot do it all alone, yeah, especially in this fast-paced environment that we live today. So we want to invite the students, the suppliers, the startups. We get then from prototyping and very early consumer feedback. That's very important, with consumers at the center since the beginning. And then we can interact with the very fast learning cycles that we get to a minimum viable product that we believe, the team believes, is good enough to represent this idea. And again, we can get in love with an idea and with a project, and we keep refining it until it's perfect. Here, the idea is that perfection takes time. So we don't want the perfect product, but we want a product that's very good to go to market. We do this joint developments with different types of agreements, depending if it's IP involved or not. So for all different types of collaboration, we will have we have to evaluate how we want to work, and then we accelerate a test launch, and we do that in a real retailer. So we do strategic partnerships, to your point, with some retailers. So for example, in Europe, we do that with a Carrefour, yeah, in UK we do that with a Tesco. And I'm very happy to say to you that we will start doing that very soon here in Chile as well. Why? Because we now the 14th accelerator of Nestlé, and as you can see, there was missing a dot, yeah, in the south area here. So a lot concentrated in Europe, US as well, very much represented by different business categories. Initially, these accelerators, they are spin-off from the R&D centers that they already had in the categories, so they are category focused. But for the regional centers, for example, like you have in Singapore or in India, and here in Latam, we are multi-category. So that's the beauty. We are not stuck to one. We are not only doing confectionery or only food. Could be anything that we believe it's worth it taking to the market. So we are very happy to say that we follow the same principle. Yes, we are not that big. Yes, we're a much smaller team, but we have all the same guidelines on how to run an accelerator and what we want to do. You may have seen or remember this was a big thing for Nestlé, and to show the commitment to keep investing in Latam, to invest here in Chile. This was our opening. We had the honor to have the president with us on that day. And he was the first one to leave us with an idea, because in the center we have very great coffee, but I say to everyone, it's free, but it's not really free. You need to leave me an idea. Yeah, if you want to take coffee, at least give me a good idea. And when I explained that to him, he said, "Oh, I want to leave my idea." And then after he took a minute, but now I want my coffee. So of course, then give him the coffee. So it was a very important event for us to show the commitment. On this event, we had our CEO for the zone of Latin America, our CTO, and so on. This is just to give you a little bit of a flavor what it looks like. So it is, I mentioned to some of you, it's one floor in the head office, and we have a mixed hybrid environment. Yeah, very open, very collaborative. We want to have the teams working there. We have an open workplace, but we do have the chef's kitchen, and we do have, and we're starting to build now. With the projects that we have, then we bring the equipments we need. We have some very standard ones there. And then we have an accelerator area where we then dedicate. So we could have 2 or 3 teams working at the same time there. And then we put the teams there together. We always like to say that in an accelerator, failure is not testing, yeah? Because everything you test, you will learn. And this is very different from a commercial launch when you're there and you invested 2 years of R&D resources behind it. So that's a big change in culture as well, and we're trying to now implement and build this culture here. This is the official press release, if you like. I just brought it here to say to you that from the beginning, from our CTO, yes, we want to be closer to our consumers, but yes, we want to build this strong collaboration within the partnerships, with the students, and so on. So this is key for us. We want to be and work in a collaborative mode. On that note, I cannot not mention the collaboration we started. We started very strong here with the Católica of Chile, and we could start from the beginning to have different partnerships. And this is also very important. We are very interested in the research area, the PhD programs, the science that we will generate together, but we are also very interested on the entrepreneurship part. So both equally, yeah. It's not that we want to do more one thing or the other. So we had our chairman here in March signing formally the contract, and here's just to show you some of the things that we are doing with the different areas with the Innovation Center. I will come back to this in a minute because this is where we are now, that we tend to have at least 4 PhD students with master students, and the areas where we're going to be exploring is marine plants and the alternative regional plant proteins that I mentioned to you. So this is where we want to do together with you guys the research in this point. And then we are part of the student challenges, the startup challenges. I think I have on the next one, we were part of the jump already this year. We had a special prize for Nestlé if the idea was about food, and we are super happy. We have a platform to support. It's open to anyone that's interested in entrepreneurship and can be used by the students, the startups. And the good news is that we have just translated it and it's now all in Spanish. So we will start to promote that more and more. And I will just move on this one. And this is the one, this is the latest launch. So since Monday, we are very proud to say that we are live and we have a startup food tech challenge working together with you guys and the Incuba City, where we launched our own challenge, and we're going through all the platforms from Incuba City, where the first prize of this process is to join the accelerator. So this will be our first accelerator project in combination with the startup that will go through all the process of the committee and so on. And the other 5, the next 5, will go through the university program with the Incuba City. This is just to share with you, not only in Chile, I was in Colombia, so it's my role to also get connected with the ecosystem in Colombia, in Brazil, in Mexico. So these are my 4 countries at the moment that I'm trying to build the same type of connections that we have now very strongly here in Chile, and doing things like joining a startup challenge in the metaverse and things like this. So it's all very new as well to me, and I'm trying to build this network, very open for any connection. But we are not only interested on the startups, yeah. So startups is definitely one key partner, but on the other one is what we wanted to talk to you as well today, is that Nestlé has a very strong academic alliance program, yeah. And we are very happy now that the Católica is part of this. And here in this slide, you can see that we have many different collaboration formats. But the way we see it with the Católica is that you are part of the very top one of this strategic alliances that we have. But just to give you some numbers, we are talking about 71 universities around the world, so it's quite wide. Again, we were not here in Latin America, so we had to get started. And I will be then also expanding this now to Mexico, to Brazil, to Colombia. Yeah. And then, of course, in Europe, there are some publicly funded funds that they can use for that. And we now have to compete with them. So we need to have good proposals so that I can go pitch for them. And Romina is here. We have a steer code where we decide which areas we want to go, what we want to do. And then from there, we go within Nestlé. We then need to then allocate the resources in a different way. And then there's all other types of projects or collaborations that are possible. Back to guidelines. Nestlé has many guidelines. So I just wanted to share with you that everything that we do in any type of collaboration has a very structured way, and we have principles on the way we organize these academic partnerships, because we all know when it comes to developing new things, creating IP, how we manage the relationships, we want to make sure this is all very, very well established. And here, these are the 3 guiding principles that we work on. Neutrality, yes, we have to say where we want to go, but the researchers can then decide how they want to take it. It has to be a common agreement, yeah? It's not us saying, we want you to investigate this. It has to be in the interest as well from the university, from the department. Openness, we want long-term relationships, yeah? We're not here to go away tomorrow. We want to strengthen, make bigger, but long-term. And transparency, yeah? So we always know if the employees, if we have a professor from Nestlé that is a sponsor there. So this is all very open, and we know who is involved in the project. This is just to give you a flavor of whom we are working. And today, very happy that the slide was already updated, that the Católica is part of that I told you, is considered a strategic alliance with big institutions that Nestlé has been working for many, many years, that you will recognize here, especially Birmingham, Zurich, and so on. We have a very strong partnership in Africa with the University of Ghana. So we are getting a lot of inspiration from them as well, because they started earlier, because they have a regional center in Abidjan. So they started this journey earlier than us here in Latin America. And then some of the other partnerships with also key institutions that you have. Why a PhD program for Nestlé R&D? You may be asking here. So we really committed to tackle some of these big food challenges that we have today. We know we cannot do that alone, but we know we have a role to play, especially on giving scale. Yeah, we know that this is where we can make a difference. With the scale of Nestlé, we can change things. And so we are looking for the solutions outside. That's why it's so important to be connected with the innovation ecosystem. We want to be seen as a trusted partner for any alliances that we make. And we want to increase the speed and success rate of our innovation, because yes, we want to learn. Yes, I told you that failure is not testing, but at the end of the day, we don't want to fail and learn all the time. We also want to succeed and have successful products in the market. The research output, I mentioned to you, we want discoveries. We want, of course, differentiated technologies that can be translated into new products. And then the publications of the scientific part that also strengthen our reputation and credibility. And last but not least, but very important, we also see that as a great win-win situation when it comes to talent recruitment, yeah? Because of course, if we have a research collaboration, if you already developed that relationship, if the student is looking for an opportunity, and we may have or we may not have at that time the position, we already start from a different starting. This is just to give you some numbers on how big this is. So currently we have 64 PhD students around these universities that we said, 26 nationalities there, 38 universities. As I've shown you, Europe is really top of the list. We are at the moment here on the other side. So we're going to strengthen that. And then the hosting universities at the moment, I mentioned to you, Ghana is one of the top ones, Singapore, and then in Switzerland with the EPFL. This is my last slide. This is what we call the PhD map of the world. So we are here on the south part of Americas, all of the other key universities that we have. And then as I mentioned in the beginning, we are in the process of starting these 2 PhD programs with you guys. We'll be in the areas of marine plants and the alternative protein areas. And we are just going through that process right now. So I hope with what I explained you, there will be interest, and I keep the question if you want to join. It's the moment. And I think with that, I open them for any questions, any curiosities, if I can answer.
Yes. Here, Carolina, I'm from the marketing business, so have a question related with the how Nestlé collect information, customer insight about customer preference to then start to develop a new product and then to test it. So how Nestlé can get some insight from the customer to then transform it in a product.
Yeah, no, very good question. Thank you. We have now many different tools, more traditional tools in terms of consumer research tools that have been around for many years. We do a qualitative research, we start with small focus groups, and then you move on until we do a big quantitative study. It's still being used as well. We have always on that we say consumer and market data. So for some categories, we are always questioning. We have data from the market, but we always speaking to consumers in different formats. We have a lot of insights from our internal consumer service. Yeah, so lots of people call us, not all the time to complain, so many times to make suggestions. So we try to leverage that base as much as we can, also through our website. But more and more, we are using many different digital tools. Yeah.
Social network, something like that.
Social network. Yes. Social networks. We can do social listening as well, where we can give to a team what are the words that we are looking. So what is being talked about? I say vegan, just for an example, and then we can get this feedback through us. So we have some always on and some targeted consumer research that we do, but not only using the traditional tools that we have.
So great. It's great to give that information to my students, for example, that Netflix is collecting data from social networks, kind of tools to then transform it in a development, a new product.
Yeah, we are more and more very tuned to what's going on in all the social networks, and we use them as well to promote or to ask questions. And we also have a great tool here in Chile as well, but strong in Mexico, strong in Brazil, which is our Recetas Nestlé website. And there is a lot of interaction there as well, where consumers go in, they look for recipes, they create their recipes, so we know and we can interact with them on that basis as well. So thank you for that.
Great. Thank you.
Aline?
Yeah.
How do you, because the word accelerator, it doesn't sort of match up with a PhD, which takes 4 years. So how do you match that aspect of 4 years with an accelerator? You cannot tell a PhD student, hey, accelerate.
So very good question. And that's why I said to you, we are not saying one thing is more important than the other. Yeah. And this on this chart that I had here with the Católica, we put them all. So all these initiatives have a lot of value. We want the research. We want the discoveries. Yeah. We want the knowledge, the new technologies that the PhD can bring to us, because that will enable us, when the PhD is finished, to then be ready to go for an accelerator, potentially, if we have something that's unique, differentiated, and help us to create a value proposition. And we need a pipeline. Yeah, many of the accelerators projects that I've shown you, I just give you one, like the VUNA, you know, these are technologies that were developed essentially years ago. So we need to have this continuous flow of discoveries and then prototyping and testing. Yeah, and we cannot run out of those. So that's why it's so important for us to keep pushing. And yes, it's very trendy to say, yeah, you take an idea in 6 months and you test it, but we need to have all the scientific knowledge coming through, because that's our core. We want to have innovation that is based on science and technology, that we can then offer differentiated offers to consumers that are good for you and good for the planet. So we need to always keep that as a core.
Thank you for the presentation. There is always keep in mind that the sales and the profit are important. But you know, if are a value in the information on the brain about the effect of the product, for example, about the related to emotional memories related to the products, or wanting and liking the related to the product, or what do you say that, or
Do you mean how we value the brand?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very complex area that you will be much better prepared than me, but for sure, when you say a brand has this value, there is lots of tangible things that you can say, yeah, we are the number one in the world because of sales potentially, but then comes all these other intangible attributes that the brand can take, and then there will be a specific math, let's put this way, to then calculate these things. But they do have something that they call love brands, yeah, and this is where you have this pool of brands that have high value from a business point of view, but also from the connection with the consumers, the perception, what they are doing, and then of course how committed the brands are to things that are more important today, like sustainability. And we know that that's a huge factor as well. But it's a complex mass. I would not be able to explain.
Thank you. Questions online from there? I think. A question.
One in
Chat.
chat.
Let me check if I can grab it here. Or probably it's. Hello, thank you for the presentation. I would like to know how it is possible to coordinate doctoral research with the objectives of Nestlé and the objectives of the universities.
Coordinate, you think, to align maybe
Yes.
the
Sure.
interest?
Mhm.
Yeah. So we, from a company point of view, we have a very broad subject area. Yeah, like I said to you, marine plants. Within that subject, there are thousands of things that we may want to investigate or do. So what we will do, that if we are in alignment, which now we are, that these are the topics that we want to investigate, then we will put the professors that will be working with that in touch. Together, they have to make a proposal that is aligned to the research objectives of that department, of the university, but also from our side that we can see that after 4 years of investment, if we succeed, we can see where this would go. Yeah. So we need to give these two points of view, because yes, we love the publications as well, like you guys, but in the end of the day, we would love to see that translated. Yeah, and we know that we generated a lot of scientific knowledge that sometimes after we cannot apply, or we really cannot translate into a new product or a new process, or something like this. But we align that we have a process to go through until both parties are in alignment, and then they can then have a project brief, and then we then go and recruit the students. Don't know if that answers.
Yep. Any more questions? You can open your mics.
Thank
Nope.
you. It's a
No, thank you very much, Aline. Like you guys to open for these doctoral positions that were open with Nestlé. So we invite everybody to apply. So if you want, just put us in touch with our program, and we can bridge together. Thank you very much again, Aline. Thank you for Nestlé for all the effort they're putting on our university. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Bye bye. Thanks. Excellent. So